talk about the Weverse magazine
Yeah,
article?
so there was another Weverse magazine article. Again, I freaking love Weverse magazine. It's such a good um in-depth look at Big Hit and the artists that are under that umbrella. And they do a really good job of like asking good questions and doing the research and all this kind of stuff. So it's definitely worth a read. This time was the 2021 Big Hit Music Global Audition. So that they were talking to TXT and some staff members about the process of going through becoming a Big Hit trainee and maybe eventually an artist at Big Hit. Um, so what I found the most interesting about this article was the fact that they and this is coming from TXT themselves is they really have an emphasis on music and loving music. So they like make you take classes about music and how to like be better musicians and better artists. Um, and even like Hunikai says, like Big Hit Music allows artists to enjoy, love, and enjoy music with ease. So it doesn't feel like it's like work, right? It feels like it's an enjoyable thing that you could do. Um,
Which I think it's really important, especially in
Super
the
important.
K-pop industry where they're always so busy all the time.
Well, and that's just it. Like if you don't love what you do, the
It makes
audience,
makes it feel like a chore.
yeah, and the audience can tell that you're not into it. Um, and some of the other things that they were talking about in here was like choreography, for example. They want to like give you choreography that you can do and that's fun and maybe a little bit challenging. um so it's very fascinating, um especially because I know that they put out this article because they're doing a global
Yeah.
audition for their newest girl group.
And I also think it's like really interesting and pretty to the point, especially that they went and interviewed TXT about it,
Yeah.
considering Unica is technically the first foreigner to debut under Big Hit.
Yeah. Well, and Tay says like even every challenge is an experience and you learn from failure.
Mhm.
So if your dream is to become a singer, be sure to jump and apply for the audition. Even if your efforts don't always bear fruit right away, it doesn't mean you're not good enough. So keep going. Those who share the same dream and those who have the same passion for performing, their dreams will eventually run into each other again somewhere someday. And I think
Because also a
that's
lot of the time they're gonna give you feedback.
yeah, and I think that's such a good like approach to have. It's like not all failure is bad, and you can use those opportunities to learn and grow and become better in the end. I think
Yeah.
that's such a smart way for Hybe to sort of, put well, Big Hit, like the audition section anyway. I think that's like such a good way for Big Hit to phrase and to get people to audition. Is like you might not get it this time, but like keep trying, keep auditioning, keep going. If it's your dream to do something and you fail at it, failure is okay because then it shows you what you need to improve on and where you can go from there. I always like look at and failure is such like a it's such an awful way to describe something because it's not you're not failing at anything. If
But also
you
it's
try,
not it's gotten such a bad connotation to it.
yeah, like if you try and you put effort into something but you don't make it, that's not failure. That's just like a bump in the road or like, you know, uh
It's
uh
an opportunity for you to improve on yourself
yeah, and
and your skills.
it's just like something you need to move past. Like it's not a failure. You didn't fail at it. You just need to try a different approach or, like study more or, you know, do more choreography or sing more. Like it's those kind of things like you just need to improve. It
Mhm.
doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It just means that you're not right for the time
You're not
and
quite
place.
there yet, but that doesn't mean you won't
Yeah.
ever
And a
get
lot
there.
of this stuff is about timing, right? Like
Mhm.
it's all about timing. Like if you're not in the right place at the right time, sometimes it just doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
You know? So I just found it was a very like
It's
interesting
always so
and
constructive, like these
super
articles.
constructive. Well, and I think like especially since they have their audition coming up so soon, to have like their youngest group minus and hyphen, but they kind of went through a different process, so I don't really count them as.
Yeah, it's not exactly the same.
It's not like an audition process, so it's like not. It is an audition process, but it was like set up completely differently.
Yeah.
But I think having like TXT be the one to sort of share their stories and have them be like the bridge between auditionees.
My babies.
Yeah, I think that was like one of the smartest things that
They're
have
also
done.
so eloquent.
For sure, yeah.
I'm just gonna say that.
And like their ability to be like, here's the reality of being a trainee, but also here's like the hope that I can leave you with, you know. And I love that Hybe is, or like BigHit is completely like focused on creating their artists to love and appreciate and focus on their music without
to keep them passionate about
to keep them passionate
Yeah.
about it, because that's like part of the battle, is to keep the engagement and passion
I mean,
alive.
why do you think BTS has been around for so long?
Yeah.
Obviously, they love what they do.
Yeah. And I think, BigHit kind of created this environment where they could do that. And TXT is, again, like still successful and they're growing.
I'm just gonna put it out there. Why do you think BTS and TXT are like the most chaotic groups out there? Because they're in a healthy work environment.
Yeah, they're allowed to like be themselves, but still be in a group at the same time, because they're fostered in that environment where you're
it's so
in a
good
group,
to see.
but you can still have individuality within that group, which is super important, because I find like if you don't have individuality, it kind of, you get lost in this sort of like, oh, it's just a group of people together, you know what I mean?
You just like lose yourself as well.
Yeah. And that's like half the fun, is like seeing the individual personalities of BTS or TXT, because they have such distinct ways of looking at things and distinct personalities that you can sort of like clock, especially in music creation too. Like you can completely tell when like RM has like touched a piece of music, because it completely has his style attached to it, you know what I mean? Or like when Yoongi and J-Hope are like writing verses and lyrics, is you can tell who had a hand in that, because it has their distinct style attached to it. And when the three of them are together, the three of them have their like own distinct like sort of style together.
Masterpiece.
Yeah, so it's cool to see that like these artists are allowed to be themselves and to like try things and like experiment, and it's like a safe environment to do so, because there's lots of places that don't have that same ability.
It's gonna be sad to say, but like a big chunk of the industry is very